My book that I co-authored with Professor Linda Vo and Tram Le, it's called Vietnamese in Orange County, and it is a book that documents the Vietnamese American experience in this county in the last 40 years. The late 1970s, what we saw was after the Fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975, we had a group of evacuees, so about 125,000 Vietnamese who left Vietnam were evacuated primarily by naval ships, helicopters, airplanes, and they were routed through Guam oftentimes and some other Pacific islands, and then came to the United States to 4 specific resettlement centers that were 4 U.S. military bases. So those were the evacuees, and then in the latter part of the 1970s, the United States received what we now know as boat people refugees. Mostly because they were displaced Chinese, Vietnamese refugees from Vietnam. In the late 70s, the new communist regime instituted a policy of they were taking land and taking businesses away from this middle and upper class in Vietnam. So many Chinese Vietnamese were displaced because of that. They had to give up their property, their homes. So they were aborted. They were actually not really boat people in the sense that we kind of imagine, leaving in small fishing boats. They left in very organized ways aboard large vessels, so ships that would take thousands of Chinese out at a time. And their primary destination was Hong Kong. So that was in the 1978 and 79. And then in the early 80s, what you saw were the conditions that we now know, that I think many Americans can recall as the boat people, where smaller fishing boats, very unsanctioned, secret departures were happening. That's when you had, very unseaworthy boats that were being navigated by a lot of times folks who were untrained to do so. They were leaving Vietnam, trying to get to anywhere, one of those first asylum countries throughout Southeast Asia.